Hey guys, this is kind of a rant, but this has to do with some of the best games that I think I've played out there. You know, in my videos, I always talk about Vampire the Masquerade. I've talked about Eclipse Phase. I now talk about Within the Ring of Fire. And I say Vampire, but I really mean the White Wolf games. And the reason why I talk about them is because there are elements in them that are so pronounced and what I consider to be so beautiful problems in these games. And I call them beautiful problems because you want to engage in them. Like a Rubik's Cube. You want to pick it up and never want to put it back down again. It's a problem that you want to solve. And one of the problems with these games can be how do you start? And the great thing about them is that they are completely designed to start before the beginning. What I mean is that, let's take Vampire for example. Vampire the Masquerade was one of the first games that was really self-contained to be able to start a game before you became a vampire. It's actually ready-made for you to play before you begin the play. Because in the game, yes, I make a vampire, I pick my clan and all that kind of stuff, but some people don't understand the game yet. And so to introduce new players to the game, sometimes it's just better to do the embrace. Now, of course, this carries over to the other White Wolf products. Your first change as a werewolf, if you're an adult. Your awakening in Mage, which is awesome. Dying for the first time in Wraith. I've done games like that. The first time you wake up as in the mortal coil under Mummy. So these games, they're almost self-contained to be able to tell a story that you are a normal human being walking down the street and your life has just changed. You could play superhero games that way. Eclipse Phase is another game that has a lot of elements in it. There's so much information, so much technology, that you almost have to do it from the beginning. Little small bites. Someone online had did a game, and literally the game started out in little sections. There was an emergency, the characters had to pick their skills, they picked their morphs, they escaped out of a hatch, and then the story ended with all the player characters having little chunks, being introduced to little parts of their character, and come to find out that although they were, 4, 5, or 6 player characters, they were actually fragments of one individual who was now trying to hunt them down and destroy them because they were forks of himself. And I thought that was an awesome introduction to the game. And I want to say it was online, but it might have been role-playing public radio. It's someone, and I'm very sorry. I don't want to take credit for it at all. I want to tell you that I didn't take credit for it. And lastly, bring up Within the Ring of Fire, because to me, Within the Ring of Fire is a beautiful problem. It is a beautiful game. It has so many story elements in it. I can't stop reading it because I'm always learning something new. I'm trying to absorb it all, and this game has so much information that to try to use all of it at the same time would be daunting. So my suggestion for those of you that have said, hey, I hear people really like this game, I'm going to get into it. My thing is small little chunks. Do it small. Start before the beginning. Start with characters just being within one racial element, so you get to learn maybe just one race, learn what they're about before those characters leave their group to encounter other races. Tell stories that involve maybe 1 or 2 of the gods, and then expand out into the greater mythology of 77 or nearly 77 gods that exist, although some of them have been killed. It is a great world, but my thing is just small pieces, small bites. Start before the beginning, and sometimes you can tell great stories and have really great arcs. And lastly, about starting before the beginning, I know I've had great success by having other player characters decide how my characters have come about. Like in Vampire, you are attacked by a vampire and other people get to decide what clan you belong to. Or if you ever find out what clan you ever belong to. So, anyway, it was a little rant. Start before the beginning. As always, create. Don't destroy.